Story 1. Am I the a-hole for accidentally causing a domino effect of drama at my office's Secret Santa and Christmas party? So, I, 29 female, recently started a new job as a personal assistant at one of the big banks in London. The team is nice enough, but one coworker, let's call her Karen, mid-50s, has been a lot. She's the kind of PA who thinks she runs the place, constantly dropping hints about her importance and making snide comments about others' gifts or choices. You get the picture. Anyway, our office does a Secret Santa every year, and Karen took it upon herself to organize it, which really just meant micromanaging and then passing off the hard work to others. Yours truly. She also announced her wish list to everyone, even though the whole point is that it's anonymous. She made it crystal clear she wanted nothing below £50, name-dropping brands like Joe Malone and Fortnum & Mason. Mind you, the official budget was £20. Fast forward to the Christmas party last week. I got paired with someone else for Secret Santa and didn't think much about Karen's gift until someone joked that Karen's going to lose her mind if she gets another cheap candle this year. I casually mentioned that someone had been clever this time and got her a novelty mug with Queen of Everything on it, which I saw when I was helping to wrap the gifts. Turns out, Karen overheard me, and chaos ensued. Karen was livid, saying it was disrespectful and offensive to her position. She immediately started trying to guess who her Secret Santa was, which led to her storming around the party grilling people. One of the directors, who everyone knows hates Karen, found the whole thing hilarious and teased her about needing to lighten up. Cue Karen snapping back, "At least I don't sleep with my team members." Yep, she said that, out loud, at a party. This set off a chain reaction because apparently the director has been rumored to have a thing with a senior manager, something I didn't even know until Karen brought it up. The room went silent, and then Karen doubled down, saying, "Oh, come on, we all know about the business trips." Meanwhile, another co-worker, let's call her Emily, stormed out crying because she's married to the senior manager in question. Turns out Emily also suspected something, but hearing it in front of the whole office was the breaking point. By the end of the night, Karen's Queen of Everything mug was the least of anyone's concerns. HR had to step in to diffuse things, and Karen was called into a meeting the next morning. Apparently, her behavior at the party was the final straw, and she's now been reassigned to a less prominent department. Here's where I might be the a-hole. I genuinely didn't know the mug thing was a secret or that it would lead to this massive blow-up. But a couple of people said I should have known better and kept my mouth shut. Another colleague joked that I lit the match that burned down Karen's kingdom. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole here for accidentally setting off the office drama of the year? And how do I recover from this without looking like the new girl who stirs the pot? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole, this is amazing. I sympathize with Emily, but Karen's demotion benefits many others. She'll have to adjust to being the newcomer in her new department, where everyone will be aware of her demotion. Make sure she doesn't forget her mug as the door hits her on the way out. You're the a-hole for not recording this and uploading it for us. And you'll be a bigger a-hole if you don't switch your ringtone to the theme song from The Exorcist. Other than that, you gave everyone in your department the best gift possible. The Queen has been exiled. Blame for the blow-up lies with Mr. Wandering PP. Wasn't she going to open it and see her gift anyway? Not the a-hole. The match would have been lit when she opened the gift. You just expedited the process. You're asking if you're the a-hole for something that would have happened in 20 whole minutes even if you said nothing. As soon as she opened the gift, all of those same dominoes would have fallen. Karen would have interrogated everyone, director would have told her to lighten up, Emily would have learned about the affair, everything. You didn't cause any of it. Karen did. I think this is fabulous, except for Emily being hurt and embarrassed, but none of that part is on you. For one thing, you're new. How could you know exactly how close to self-destruction this nutty Karen was and what she'd do? She dug her own grave with her self-importance and her big mouth. I pity the department that gets her now, but this was a disaster waiting to happen. She has no one to blame but herself. Would have loved to be there. Edit to add, not the a-hole. You ended up giving lots of people an early Christmas gift. Not the a-hole. Not your fault someone can't handle themselves. And over something so small. It'd have come out eventually, and now she's somewhere else where she isn't liked and can't do anything about it. Maybe she's learned to keep her mouth shut. Doubtful, but I don't know. Not the a-hole. None of this has anything to do with you. 1. You didn't buy the gift, which, as someone else pointed out, she'd have seen anyway. She would have just gotten mad a little later instead. 2. Karen decided to shout her mouth off. She's the one throwing her toys out of her pram. Let's face it, Karen was set to blow at some point. 3. Having an affair involves risk. The two people involved knew this, and they weren't careful enough. It's backfired on them, but you didn't force them together. 4. You would not the a-hole for this next reason alone, even if you did cause the other's events. This is the absolute best and funniest story I've ever read on here. Thanks for sharing. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for refusing to co-sign my sister's mortgage after my parents went behind my back? I, 28 female, have been busting my butt for years to save for my own house. I work in software, so I make decent money, but it still takes forever to build up a good down payment. Meanwhile, my younger sister, 25 female, is in grad school with barely any credit. Our parents, both mid-50s, found a house near them and decided she needs it. They made an offer, without telling me, and now the deal only goes through if I co-sign. The problem? I had no clue they'd do this. My parents basically dropped a bomb. You have the best credit score. Co-sign so your sister can get the house. They also hinted I should chip in for the down payment because you've got the money. If I co-sign, I'll be on the hook if my sister can't pay. She's still in school, has debt, and zero backup plan. The bank might also reject my future mortgage application since they'll see I'm already tied to another loan. But my parents say I'm selfish and forgetting family values. My sister's calling me a monster for leaving her stranded, and my mom threatened to cut off any future financial help, like wedding money, if I don't help right now. Some relatives think it's insane my parents tried to rope me into this after they already made the offer. Others say I should just do it for the family's sake. I feel guilty, but also mad they put me in this spot. Am I the a-hole for protecting my own finances? Or are they wrong for strong-arming me into co-signing a mortgage I never wanted in the first place? Edit. I'm actually adopted LMAO, forgot to mention in my confused and angry state. My parents adopted me when I was very young because they'd been struggling to conceive. A few years later, they had my younger sister naturally, which was a huge deal to them. She was their miracle baby. Ever since, it's felt like my role in the family became the older, adopted one, while she was the golden child who could do no wrong. Growing up, I was expected to pitch in more, be more responsible, and generally look out for my sister. I worked my butt off in school, snagged scholarships, and eventually landed a good job in software. All the while, I felt like my family mostly saw me as the fallback option in case anyone needed financial or emotional support. Now that I'm actually building my own life, saving for a house, focusing on my career, I'm realizing how my success just makes me look like a bigger piggy bank to my parents. The more independent I become, the clearer it is that I need to separate myself from the constant guilt trips and the unspoken expectation that I'll always bail them or my sister out. I love them, but I can't keep sacrificing my own future to maintain a dynamic where I'm never the priority. So thank you all for the wake-up call. Update to come. Now for the comments. Absolutely do not co-sign. Not the a-hole if you refuse. Let your mom not pay for the wedding. If she's threatening now, she will again. In the end, she probably won't. But that's not the main reason not to co-sign. The main reason is there is a huge chance you will be in debt for a house that is not yours. Spoiler: they won't pay for your wedding anyway. They are broke bums. Please don't sign. It will F you up in ways you can't even imagine yet. Not the a-hole, that sounds like a terrible idea. Family sounds toxic. Good luck. How come they didn't try to help you get a house? Don't sign. The husband of a friend of mine co-signed on a loan for his sister's law school tuition, and she never paid a dime. Terrible idea. Why does she need a house right now if she has barely any credit and she's mid-grad school? An apartment sounds like what she needs. That's a really good point. A lot of people consider moving after college or grad school. It's probably safer for the sister to rent until she finishes school. Never ever co-sign for anything for anyone. I don't care who they are. Not the a-hole for following basic common sense. Your parents' demands are ridiculously unreasonable. Lock down your credit score and make sure they can't use your information anyway. My sister had hers trashed by the ex because he would take out loans in her name. I have seen parents do this as well, regardless of the child's age or consent. Getting on this now? Thank you. Contact the mortgage company and title company and tell them that you are 100% not signing anything, electronically or otherwise. This too. They could try forgery if you don't sign. Not the a-hole. You should not co-sign. If you do, you would almost certainly be unable to buy your own house because your available credit would be reduced by the amount of your sister's mortgage. Also, if you co-sign, you would be legally responsible for the entire loan, plus fees, plus interest, but have no rights to any equity. Also, as a co-signer, you wouldn't have any method by which you could force your sister to remove your name from the debt. In short, your family is trying to screw you over. Don't let them. Put a freeze on your credit immediately. That should keep anyone from trying to borrow money in your name without your approval. Refuse to co-sign anything. Don't give them money. If some family members think your sister deserves support, tell them that sis will be happy to hear that they are interested in helping her with house purchase expenses. Not the a-hole. Financial abuse. This doesn't sound like the first time OP has been put in this position. You sound financially responsible and goal-oriented. Your parents and sister can insult you all they want. But you would be insulting your own intelligence by allowing them to bully you into signing. Although you can tell them that you will only co-sign if only your name is on the deed. Sister flakes on the payments? You can sell the house to pay off the loan and will have no problem getting a bank loan to buy the house you actually want. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for cutting off and flaming my future mother-in-law? I, 25 female, have done everything in my power to have a relationship with my future mother-in-law since my boyfriend and I started dating because I really wanted to have a second mom. I thought it'd be fun. But surprise, surprise, she doesn't like me for God knows what reason. I have so many instances I can list right now, but I'll try to contain. For context, my boyfriend is the eldest of 2 sons. She has no daughters, and we live 8 hours away from her. The first instance I can think of is when we went to lunch because she had wanted to meet me. My boyfriend and I had been dating for 6 months and known each other for 3 years. I get there and my first thought was, she is super pretty. Her tone was gentle and she was a hugger. But as soon as we sat down, she never looked at me again. It was 1.5 hours of her catching up with her son. She eventually asked me one question at the end, which was, "Where are you from?" That's it. I proceeded to think I did something wrong. Fast forward a few months to summer 2022, she told my boyfriend she was planning a family vacation and told my boyfriend he could either come up to her in July alone, I wasn't invited, or he could come up in August with me. I was allowed to come. I was hella confused because I didn't understand what made the terms that way. His dad's family was always inclusive of me, and mine was with him. I was weirded out, but thought I was being sensitive and told him to go and have fun. Fast forward to another few months to my boyfriend's birthday, the turning point. I had texted his mom because she wanted to come down for his birthday and visit us. I said I was flying out his best friend to surprise him, and he was going to stay with us the weekend before my boyfriend's birthday. She never responded and didn't speak to me for 3 months because she thought in my text I said his friend was coming on his actual birthday and was offended his best friend could spend his birthday with him and not her. She called my boyfriends and decided on a date. She would come a week before his birthday since February is a busy month for us. 4 family birthdays, Valentine's Day, and our anniversary. As the day comes, and I'm cleaning the apartment, she calls him and asks him where they will sleep. We lived in a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom at the time, but had a pull-out couch that turned into a bed, and he explained this to them. He also said that I would be visiting family while they were here. I decided to remove myself and let her spend time with him because I know that's what she values most. After he said I was going to be leaving the next day, his mom proceeded to say they would stay at a hotel tonight and stay at the apartment when I was gone. I started crying because I was so hurt at the way it was said, and my boyfriend was immediately pissed and called her. He said all he wanted for his birthday was for the four of us to spend time together, and it was mean of her to say. She said she didn't know that's what he wanted, and he should have clarified that. The whole weekend was a crap show. I left. His birthday was ruined for him, and he even had a talk with her before they left, and he told me it went nowhere. Fast forward to Christmas, she rented an Airbnb and actually allowed me to come. It was me, her, my boyfriend, and his brother. I unfortunately had to work that weekend and couldn't do any activities with them. I work remote, so I stayed back at the Airbnb. But to be honest, I think she was happy about that. Later that night after I finished work, I passed out. My boyfriend stayed with me while I was sleeping. When I woke up, he told me his mom and brother had walked into town and wanted him to come and take family photos. She told him to leave me there while I was sleeping. He said he didn't want to and chose to stay with me. She got upset. Now there's been a lot of other stuff that's happened. I've had a one-on-one talk about how her actions made me feel about 4 times. She cried and proceeded to tell me her backstory. It went nowhere. My boyfriend started to see more signs that weren't okay with him and said he didn't want to be involved with someone who acted that way. Didn't matter who they were. So he called her to tell her he wanted space. She then called me and said she wanted a relationship to get to know each other. 2.5 years later, she wanted to call once a week. My dumb brain said yes, because why not give a second, third chance? Everyone in both of our families told me that he'll always choose his mother over me. So I wanted to know I put in every effort with her to make sure that didn't happen. She called me once and it was very fake, clearly wanting to know how my boyfriend was doing and if we had any plans. I felt weird calling her and talking to her when my boyfriend and her weren't speaking, and decided to ask if she was okay. She acted confused, like she didn't know what I was talking about. When I finally was specific in saying it was about her son, she raised her voice at me, saying they have a great relationship, and she doesn't know what games I'm playing, but she doesn't want to be a part of it. I took it as a weird threat when she then said, "Nothing and nobody is going to keep me from my son." I just let her get it out of her system, and she didn't even give me a chance to respond, just changed the subject. When I told her we were hanging out with my mom, she went silent and got upset. She never called me again. I texted her 3 weeks later asking if our weekly calls were done since they were her idea, and she had never communicated with me about them since. Yet she texted my boyfriend in that time saying she missed him. At this point, I'm so done with the games and am tired from the amount of effort I put into including her, mapping out time to visit her, and getting her gifts when I saw something she liked. For me, I wanted to make sure I had receipts, and again, had proof I was communicating with her so she couldn't use anything against me. I took one of her paragraph texts she sent me, threw it into ChatGPT, and asked it to type out a message matching her tone, because she's passive-aggressive as fuff, about ending these weekly calls and cutting ties since it didn't seem like it was working out for us. ChatGPT kind of flamed her LOL. But to summarize, the message basically said, it's sad she doesn't understand boundaries and she doesn't live with her son. I do. I see the pain every day when his mom contacts him and pressures him into talking to her, and it sucks. She's not my mom, so I don't know. I feel like I did all I could. My boyfriend eventually cut her off officially too, because it was affecting his work that she kept texting him and wasn't respecting his space. He told me, when he cut her off, his mom admitted she only was talking to me because he told her to. Anyways, I don't take it personally, as I think she would have acted this way with anyone in my shoes. My boyfriend and I both admitted we felt better and lighter after cutting ties. But 2 weeks later, she sent flowers to him. I don't know how she got our address, and told him she's thinking of him. It was creepy to me. He told me to throw them out. It's been 2 months since, and now that we're engaged, we still feel the same and don't want to invite her. The ties remain cut for now, and I check in with him often on how he's feeling. Am I the a-hole for cutting her off? Should I have put in more effort, or give her another chance? Update. He got an accidental text from his grandmother tonight. He hasn't spoken to her in months either, since she treats me the same way. It was his decision, but honestly, I was shocked. The text was clearly meant for his mom and said, "No, I haven't spoken to him either. I tried reaching out multiple times." She texted him once, LOL, "but have heard nothing. My texts are green. Do you think he blocked me?" He didn't, obviously. So, at least our suspicions are confirmed. His mom is definitely trying to keep tabs on him by having his aunts and grandmother bait a response. We'll see how long it takes before the news reaches them that we're getting married, and that they aren't invited. Stay tuned. Good for you both, not the a-hole. My mother was that mother-in-law couldn't understand why her offspring's partner's relationships with her were crap. Apparently, she said to my sister that her relationship with her mother-in-law had been awful and she'd hopped for better with her own in-laws. As my sister confided to me, whilst rolling her eyes, seems like there is a common denominator. Not the a-hole. You did way more than enough, she's not gonna change, and it's not on you to fix her. Sounds like you and your BF are on the same page, so just keep moving forward and continue to cut toxic people into your lives and live peacefully. Thank you. We are doing much better without her now. Moving forward and continuing to cut those off who don't treat us right because unfortunately, we have a lot of toxic family members. But less people to pay for at our wedding, I guess. Not the a-hole. It's really refreshing to see a mature boyfriend who has healthy boundaries with his mother and isn't scared to cut her off if she oversteps. Thank you. I'm really lucky to have someone like this. I hope to see more people free themselves from toxic relationships like this, regardless of if they're blood or not. We only have one life. You've tried multiple times to make things work, but her behavior has been consistently disrespectful and hurtful. You set healthy boundaries, and it's completely understandable to cut her off when she keeps crossing them. You've done all you can to make things right, but if it's draining you and affecting your relationship, it's best to protect your peace.
Thank you for listening. If you like the video, consider like and subscribe. If you want more stories like these, turn on your notification to receive the latest stories.